Good evening and welcome to the Monday, August 10th Maplewood City Council meeting. I wanted to start out talking about National Night Out. I wanted to thank all of our staff members. I think we had 100 staff members out in the neighborhoods, and we had, I think, around 65 parties in the community, which was absolutely excellent. I myself made it to 8 parties, but I did start out very, very early, and great turnout, a lot of fun, and it was a great time. I know council members, all of us were out there. Okay, now the reality of it is that's kind of the downturn because summer is, we're sliding into fall. That's what National Night Out always tells me, is that fall is just around the corner and we start noticing that it gets darker, we're losing hours of daylight, but, you know, we're going to grab the rest of the summer because we have 2 other summer events coming up. We've got Celebrate Summer, and we have, that's actually next week, and then we've got Touch a Truck and the fireworks in September. So there are some fun things left that you can get out and enjoy in Maplewood. I hope that you will all do that. So let us start with our Pledge of Allegiance tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk Sint, would you do the roll call for us, please?
Councilmember Villavicencio. Here. Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here as well, thank you. Members, would someone like to make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Lee, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve our agenda. Is there any further discussion? I am going to add the Rice-Larpenter Alliance Summer Block Party that is coming up this weekend. Can't wait to talk about that a little bit. Councilmember Villavicencio.
I'd like to do an update on heading home Ramsey.
Okay. Seeing no other lights, it's been moved and seconded. Would someone, or all those in favor signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have the approval of our minutes, the July 27th, 2026 City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Moved by Juniman. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Cave. The motion to approve the July 27th, 2026 City Council Workshop Meeting Minutes. All those in favor, or is there any further discussion? Then all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have our City Council meeting minutes from July 27th. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Lee. The motion to approve the July 27th, 2026 City Council meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have our August 3rd, 2026 City Council special meeting minutes. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move approval.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave, the motion to approve the August 3rd, 2026 City Council special meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, we have administrative presentations. Mr. Sable, this is your topic.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Thank you for the opportunity to talk about this. So just a few items to prepare for. So on Friday at 11 a.m., there is a special meeting to canvass the primary election results, which I should just remind folks that tomorrow is Election Day in Minnesota. Our staff just wrapped up a long weekend of early voting opportunities and direct balloting, and we ended with 500 exactly direct ballots put in and another 200 or so envelopes that were mailed in. So we set a record for early absentee and direct balloting, early voting. And so that was that's good. So we're going to have a meeting on Friday at 11 a.m. I wanted to forecast the meeting on August 24th is going to be full of several items. Number one will be the 2027 budget workshop. I lose track of what number conversation that is, but it's, again, one of probably 14 or 15 budget presentations that we'll have. We also will see the results of our housing and commercial market study. I've seen draft copies of both. They both number in the about 130 pages each, and so we will try to send those out in advance to give you enough time to read them ahead of time. Also want to put on there, that's not listed on the item, but we will have a conversation about the community center, specifically related to the gymnasium floor and potential interim construction of the floor space. And we'll just have a general conversation about the community center. And then I'll put on the radar that we may have a discussion related to the Ramsey County gun range property. We will know more tomorrow afternoon, but we could anticipate an action on the 24th. A couple of other items. So just for community events, there is the Putt-Putt with Public Safety on August 12th from 12:30 to 3, just down the street at the Midwest Golf Complex. There is also, as Mayor mentioned, the Rice and Larpenteur, will mention the Rice and Larpenteur Summer Block Party. And then Friday fireworks featuring Touch a Chuck will be September 18th. And then lastly, we did receive a request from a resident, Tom Schmidt, who is in the audience. And I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't remember your name. Molly, thank you so very much. These are residents of the Maple Hills Homeowners Association and Complex. And there has been a request for the city to review and look at its pet limitations, and specifically to the R3 multi-unit zoning. Our current configuration of the ordinance allows for one dog or one cat, and that type of restriction is out of alignment with potentially peer cities, and so there was a request to have that to be changed. In an initial staff review, we haven't noted any formal complaints of the ordinance, and so, but I've learned subsequently that there are lots of people who are potentially in violation because we no longer do licensing of dogs and cats, and so I think this could be a remnant piece. I want to provide some perspective on scope. So a full rewrite may require some legal review, drafting, and adoption time. Staff is, it's really just staff time and bandwidth for considering that. If we do open up or make amendments to the R3, it does potentially set a new standard for all multifamily housing units, so it does require some deliberation and thought, so not just reacting, but providing some thought. And so what I'm looking for tonight is some council direction to decide if this is something you want us to review and look at, or if wants to move forward with a comparative review based on Thomas Schmidt's submitted draft language. We can do a comparison of neighboring communities, and we could also just do a sort of a wholesale simple fix and just rewrite and align them all within one section. And so from a staff perspective, we're not opposed to modernizing. We're just flagging this is just a request that came in, and this is an opportunity for the council to provide some clarity and staff direction. Sure, please.
I see a light on, Councilmember Cave.
Sure. I just want to make a comment. You know, I've read all the emails and talked to the city manager. It seems like our ordinance is, you know, it's doing well. We don't have any issues with it. My concern is that we're dealing with a Maple Hills, just like you could be dealing with another trailer park or another. They have their own policies in there and enforcement. So we're not really an enforcement entity for this. So I just concern myself over the fact that I thought our policies were pretty good out there. I don't feel like we really need to relook at them. And then these establishments and these parks or these HOAs all have they're also, they have to make sure that they watch how many dogs and cats. That's not for us to go in and police. So I think this sounds more like a Maple Hills issue, HOA, and I don't want to turn it into an all Maplewood when we really don't have an issue there. So that's my feelings on it.
No, I'm going to give, Mr. Schmidt, I'm going to give you an opportunity would you like to approach the council, or Molly? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your last name, Molly?
I'll introduce myself.
Sure.
Thank you. My name is Molly Linares, and I do live in the Maplewood Hills Neighborhood Association. The reason it's an issue is because it does reach beyond this. It's the R2 and the R3, which I believe encompasses a large number of multi-unit dwellings outside of simply trailer parks or HOA associations. And it's confusing, I think, for people. So people who are looking to move to Maplewood, who are looking to purchase property or buy into a condo or homeowners association, aren't necessarily going to know how their community is zoned before they do that. The same with people who are renting from an apartment building. They're taking their landlord's pet policy as within the bounds of city ordinance. And if that policy is in fact outside of city ordinance, there may not be an awareness because zoning laws are just not well known by the general public. So that's my primary concern.
What is the policy at Maple Hills?
Prior to last month, it was in line with Maplewood ordinance, and the board had a pretty considerable discussion about, whether we even had the legal authority or regulatory authority to change our rules to be outside of Maplewood law. So we did ultimately change that. So now it is 3 pets, which is consistent with basically every suburb in the Twin Cities, as well as Minneapolis, and then St. Paul is a little bit different. And that's 3 dogs and cats, not 3 dogs or cats. So a total of 3 domestic 4-legged animals in each dwelling.
Okay, thank you. My concern, you can have a seat.
Thank you.
My concern is that we would have ordinances that may be outdated, that we're not enforcing. And you're right, Councilmember Cave, we aren't enforcing it. We don't have an enforcement arm. And is it really necessary, written the way that it is? But I think that it warrants looking into that and maybe simplifying things, because you're right, I think that there are a lot of HOAs that are out there with their own policies, and maybe that's something that we want to look at as well. But I would be in favor of staff looking into this and bringing it back to us, because it's not a good idea to have ordinances on the books that we are not enforcing, that are not, that aren't relevant to today. So this is the time for the council to discuss. So let's see, I think, Councilmember Lee, you were next.
Thank you, Mayor. I think there comes a time where we have to just review our policies in general, and I've had the opportunity to talk with many residents this past weekend in that area, and so learned from a couple of them. And what was shared with me, Tom and Molly, was that prior to that was whatever the city had is what you guys had followed prior. And one of the concerns that was shared with me also from a resident was that a lot of residents who are considering moving to Maple Hills, one of the concerns that they had, and from a real estate agent that lives there, was that people don't want to move in because there's a 1-pet policy. And so I think it really, as Molly mentioned, I think it goes beyond just the policy itself. I think as the community continues to change, we have to modernize and update our policies with that. So I would be in favor of revisiting to see how we can also compare it to other cities within the area. And if it makes sense for us to make an amendment to the policy, I think that would benefit the community very much. And, can't go wrong with an extra cat or dog.
And how many pets do you have, Councilmember Lee?
I have too many pigeons.
Councilmember Vicencio.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm in favor of looking at the policy and possibly updating it to modernize it. But I also want to make sure that we wouldn't include service animals in that number, and also people who train service animals, because they also have an influx of animals.
Thank you. Councilmember Juniman.
Well, this is a can of worms that we visited several years ago, and that's how we got here. At one time, we had a kennel license, so you had 3 or more dogs, you had to have a kennel license. And then we had a big brouhaha about whether we should have that or not, and out of that conversation came basically what we're doing now, which is nothing. So we went from having a structure to not having a structure. So if we're going to have one, we need to spend a little time on it, I guess. But it will be interesting to see how you think we can come into some kind of agreement and then not be having more HOAs in violation. I mean, this is really a can of worms.
And that's why it's worth it to look into it. Councilmember Cave.
I was going to mention what Kathy did too about the fact that we used to have a kennel license here and everyone had to register their pet. I do have a question, and then maybe it's for the lawyer here. If we come up with a policy, I know in my daughter's apartment, they have a different policy there, and they don't follow the city's policy. They're allowed to have their own. So if we have a policy that says one cat or one dog, is the apartment or HOA allowed to do what they want in it?
Councilmember, yes. We're talking about a statute, an ordinance which the city can adopt, and then we're talking about HOA policies, two separate things. And so, if you're a resident, you have to pass both hurdles, both comply with city ordinance and whatever your HOA regulation. But we can do whatever we want, and the HOAs can do whatever they want.
Yes.
I think that's okay.
So I feel like that kind of answers what we're.
Councilmember Lee.
Good question on that one. One of my questions is, the initial thought that came to my mind when the email came out was that, I don't know if city manager is able, you can share a little bit more with us or not, if we've had any instances like this, but animal hoarding was something that I was concerned about. When you start to have more than one pets, then people tend to have the tendency to continue to accumulate pets. And do we have any cases of animal hoarding in Maplewood? When was the last one? I don't know if that's a thing at all in Maplewood.
Sable.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. Councilmember Lee, I'm going to ask Community and Economic Development Director Parr, because she knows more than I do.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council, and City Manager Sable. It does come up from time to time. I would say hoarding in general comes up more often, but I would say at least on a yearly basis, we will have an overabundance of cats or dogs, less than a handful of times, but it does happen every year. Yep.
So that, we need to be mindful of that as well as the potential result. Councilmember Juniman.
A little more history. Back before we got rid of it, what started the whole conversation was the 3 or more without a kennel license, was that there was an issue between someone who lived in a twin home and had 4 dogs and someone who lived nearby and was basically chased back to his house by these 4 dogs. So this is more complicated than it sounds. And so like I said, I have no idea where we're going to end up, but there is a history of trying to figure out what to do about how many is too many.
Thank you. So it sounds to me like the consensus is we need to look into this further and have some discussions. It should be based on facts. We can look at other cities and what they're doing, and maybe look at that possibility of clarifying that this is the city guidelines, and then HOAs are permitted to make their own policies. Maybe that needs to be included. But I think, thank you. I want to thank you for bringing this to our attention. And now what we will do is staff will look into this. They'll write a report, and then this will return to the council probably sometime, maybe September. I mean, it takes a while this is not going to happen immediately, but we will get some clarification.
Mayor and council members, yes, we will shoot for, and I'm looking at Community and Economic Development Director Parr, because she's probably going to be the one that inherits this, because the clerk's office used to do animal licensing, but we don't do that anymore. So it's been without a home, so to speak, within the departmental structure. So
September, October, is that a reasonable time frame?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, we will shoot for the end of September, maybe get some help from our interns and others to kind of do some research.
Oh, great.
And at the very latest, October, but obviously if we can get it addressed in September, we'd much prefer that.
Thank you very much for that, and thank you again for bringing it to our attention. Mr. Sable.
Mayor and council members, Mr. Schmidt, feel free to send me your language and those other things so we can get on the ground running in Mali, the same thing. We'd be happy to use some of the work you've already done on our behalf. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, council presentations. Councilmember Villavicencio, you wanted to share about Heading Home Ramsey.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. As I sit on Heading Home Ramsey for Maplewood, And as most of you probably have seen in the news, the encampments in the St. Paul area being closed down, and which was pretty timely because we had a Heading Home Ramsey meeting right before the encampments closed, and the deputy mayor of St. Paul, one of them, came to the meeting, and unfortunately it was a little bit kind of too late because many of us felt that he should have kind of came to the coalition of Heading Home Ramsey much earlier. And so that was a little bit disappointing. And his information was somewhat sparse, as he announced as to, like he did to the public, that the 5th was for the first encampment, but there are 2 major other encampments that they are closing down as well as we speak. And I know they're doing some scrambling and working to create some more programs. And in the meantime, there's other things going on that make, unsheltered community difficult. For instance, our family shelters are a little bit restricted right now. So many people know that in Maplewood, we have Catholic Charities Family Shelter up by the Ramsey County farm. They are closed right now due to some remodeling, which is really bad timing, unfortunately, because this is a time that families are really needing some assistance. But I know that Ramsey County themselves have they're creating 2 different major projects right now, expanding of emergency shelter and then housing focused case management. And so they're working on those projects. And as I said, Catholic Charities is closed in Maplewood. But they are, so the families previously served in the family service centers have been transitioned to shelter through the Interfaith Action Project home and the Emerald Inn Hotel, which is also in Maplewood. And so many of you probably have seen that there has been an influx in the suburbs and specifically in Maplewood. And, so I really urge, our partners in Ramsey County to come together and come up with some real solutions that our community desperately needs. And, as many of you know, the legislature did approve $40 million in an increase for family homeless prevention. Ramsey County will obviously get over $5 million of that. And it's just a matter of kind of getting all of the people who are doing those services in line to be able to help the people on the road who need it. Our embedded social worker, Dean, in Maplewood has been doing a fantastic job of helping folks who he can. We have a diversion program that we can access as leaders, and so if there are anybody who you come across who does need help, there's a number of different ways that you can help. One of them is talking to Dean. Another one, you can call 211 United Way. Another issue, as you all know, I always bring up, and so I hate to beat a rug that's always beat, but, I brought up the fact that, our coalition is made up of many, many organizations and Heading Home Ramsey, and the current statistic in Ramsey County is 80% of the homelessness in Ramsey County are folks with disabilities. And there is not one organization in that coalition that is focused on disabilities. And I think that is a huge oversight in which I hope to be able to influence. And, I brought this up to the deputy mayor, in which he had no comments. So, a Focus on Minnesota is also an organization that is helping folks with other things, services like food and grocery delivery for folks that can't get anywhere, and hygiene products and small items like that. So look out for Focus Minnesota. Face to Face Minnesota is also another organization that helps specifically youth in Ramsey County. Yeah, and always reach out to me as well, and I can also try to help as much as I can.
Thank you very much for that report. Councilmember Juniman, did you have a question?
Well, more of a comment, and I don't know if we can do anything about it, but I did have a conversation with a Ramsey County Commissioner, and they really felt that they got hoodwinked by St. Paul on this closing, and that there was not enough coordination between them to make it more seamless. And so whatever we can do to encourage St. Paul to talk to the county, we need to do, because this is what happens when you don't talk to the people involved.
Thank you for those comments.
Agree.
Okay, moving on, I wanted to invite everyone to the Rice Larpenter Summer Block Party. It is happening on Saturday, August 15th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the corner of Rice and Larpenter. There's going to be food trucks there. There will be all sorts of, there'll be music, a band. It really is going to be fun. And that is another indicator that we are on the slide into fall when we have the Rice Larpenter Summer Block Party. So please, if you're looking for something fun to do, it's going to be a great event. There will be a lot of people there, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed for really wonderful weather. Keep in mind this this is the same organization, Rice Larpenter, where we have our winter warm-up. That happens in Maplewood, and we never have good weather for that. That happens in December. So this is a chance to get out into that wonderful neighborhood, Rice Larpenter, and enjoy some summer fun. So, moving on to our consent agenda. We have items 1 through 7. Would someone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve consent agenda, item G1 through 7.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman. The motion to approve consent agenda items G1 through 7. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Moving on to public hearings, we have the Ramsey County Regional Railroad Authority. And that is going to be Ms. Parr's topic for tonight.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. The right-of-way that is the subject of the vacation this evening, you can see on the overhead, it is the dashed yellow line. That is right there on English. And if you look at the properties outlined in red adjacent to it, those are properties owned by the Ramsey County Regional Railroad Authority, okay? So while this agenda item involves the vacation of city right-of-way that we no longer need, we also wanted to mention the significance of this vacation as a way to support our economic development strategy and the goals of Ramsey County. Last year, we reached out to Ramsey County, and I think we've talked about this once before, but we reached out to Ramsey County regarding the property at 1840 English, which is that most southern red box. There was a single-story structure there, fencing and so forth. It had a lot of uses over time. We reached out when we saw that it went for sale, when it was put on the market, and we inquired if the Regional Rail Authority had any interest in partnering together to purchase and consolidate that piece along with the other adjacent areas. We would look at vacating our piece, obviously, that bifurcates or cuts through those adjacent pieces. And then if we could create a larger site for more desirable redevelopment opportunity, which was what we're always looking to do as a part of our economic development strategy, and that you, and as an EDA, when you are an EDA, encourages us to look at. Our timing was good because Ramsey County was in the planning phases of creating their new Building Stronger Together initiative. And for anyone that's unfamiliar with that, it has since launched. It is basically designed to leverage over 630 acres of underutilized county property across the county in order to generate revenue, get it back on the tax rolls, and to attract private investment. So they've been doing that working with communities, and this is kind of our first opportunity. We have a number of them we'd like to push forward, but this is the first one as a piece of that, and the vacation is needed in order for us to move forward with that. So as you can see, the red parcels are owned by Ramsey County Rail Authority. If in fact this is vacated, then they would go back and become part of the adjacent properties. That's eventually where it goes, and we would look at another process to move it forward to make it all one consolidated property as a part of that. Because they're the owning entities adjacent to it, they're requesting the vacation, and thus the public hearing is required. They purchased this property, I should say the area adjacent to this where the right-of-way is, back in 1992. And that was to be a part of Purple Line in respect to the trail. They no longer need that. And so now they've seen it in January, it became surplus property, and thus was something that's eligible to be looked at for the purposes such as this. A notice was put in the paper and for 2 consecutive weeks that's required, and then sent to 109 property owners within the plat. We did not hear from anyone in relation to that. As I said, all the abutting properties are owned by RCRA, and thus they are the major property holder, and there's no issues with that in regards to having it convey back to them. Engineering has reviewed the request. They see no need to retain any of the right-of-way. And with that, we recommend you hold the public hearing and then approve the resolution for the public vacation. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and Ron and Steve are here to assist if you have anything for them as well.
Thank you. This sounds like a really great opportunity to partner with Ramsey County with really what was unused property. But let's start. Council members, does anyone have any questions for Ms. Parr? Otherwise, we'll move right. Councilmember Villavicencio.
Yeah, I had a question about the parcel, kind of two-part. One, do you know the acreage of of all 3 parcels, and or just the yellow part?
So the yellow part is 0.3 acres. Collectively, it's 2.3 acres.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Okay, then we are going to go to the public hearing. I'll open the public hearing. City Clerk Sint, is there anyone who is signed up? There's no one in the audience.
Mayor, we do not have anyone.
There is someone in the audience, but I don't think you're going to be commenting on this parcel. But thank you for being here. All right. There is no one here to speak to the public hearing concerning the Ramsey County Regional Railroad Authority south of 1870 English Street North. Call it again. Would anyone like to comment on it? Then I will close the public hearing. And council members, we have a motion before us. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move to approve the resolution, excuse me, for the city to vacate the unused street right-of-way located south of the property at 1870 English Street, owned by Ramsey County Regional Rail Authority.
Second.
Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave. The motion as she recited, is there any further discussion? Mr. Sable?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. I often talk about how the partnership with Ramsey County is a really important one. This is a real-world example where County Manager Becker has been a terrific partner in this process. And so whenever I get a chance to publicly thank Ramsey County, I want to take advantage of it. It's appreciated. And I think they are really going to be having a forward-looking project going forward. So we're really excited for the partnership. And so to County Manager Becker, thank you.
No, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have new business. We have the resolution ordering preparation of the feasibility study for the 2027 Maplewood Street improvement projects. We really are almost done with summer, aren't we? We're looking at street projects for next year.
Yes, Mayor and Council, there's nothing like National Night Out and the start of a new street project
Yeah.
to bring on fall. Ordering the feasibility study is really the first step in the street improvement project. The proposed 2027 street improvement project includes 1.8 miles of streets with an average pavement condition index of 41 out of 100. So this really indicates that it's in poor shape and is in need of repair. The project streets are shown on the map here. The top part is the main project area. It's the Jackson Street neighborhood just north of Roselawn, west of 35, as well as Jackson Street between Roselawn and Larpenter. The other part of it is a couple cul-de-sacs off of Lakewood Drive just north of Maryland, and those are really a pavement condition replacement project. So the study will review existing conditions of the roadways and utilities to define the scope of work, estimate improvement costs, identify funding sources, and also to set up a proposed budget. If the study is ordered, staff will begin the feasibility report, which includes geotechnical investigation, topographic survey, wetland delineation, assessment appraisals, and neighborhood engagement. So throughout the project, residents will have multiple opportunities for input through neighborhood meetings, the project website, direct contact with staff, as well as the public hearings. The budget for the study is $100,000 and will be funded through the Capital Improvement Fund. Staff recommends approving the resolution and ordering the feasibility report, and I'm available for any questions.
You know, Mr. Love, I have a question. What is the current percentage of our streets that are now at 70 or above?
I believe it's about 75.
75%? That's excellent. Thank you. Council members, would someone like to make that motion?
I move to approve the, excuse me, the attached resolution ordering the preparation of the feasibility study for the 2027 Maplewood Street Improvement City Project 26-11.
Second.
Moved by Ginneman, seconded by Villavicencio. The motion is written in our packet. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you for that. And we have one more item, the resolution approving joint powers agreement with the city of Woodbury. And this is this Mr. Love's Yes, Mr. Love, you're the presenter on this one too.
Yes, Mayor and Council. So the city of Woodbury provides both water and sanitary sewer service to a number of Maplewood properties along Century Avenue it's a border street. The reason is it's more effective to do that because versus running two of the same utilities down the same street. The townhome area of the Century Ponds development at the southern portion of the site will be connecting to Woodbury sanitary sewer system, and this will require a joint powers agreement or a JPA. Over the years, the two cities have entered into several separate service agreements, which are now out of date. Both cities saw this as an opportunity to consolidate the existing agreements into one updated joint powers agreement. So versus having 4 or 5 different agreements that you're keeping track of, it's all managed through the one agreement. This update will it does define each city's roles, responsibilities for ownership, operation, maintenance, and liability. There is no fiscal impact to the city with this. Woodbury will be billing the properties for the services that they receive. Staff recommends approving the resolution and directing the mayor and city manager to sign the agreement, and I'm available for any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Love? Seeing none, would someone like to make the motion?
Motion to approve the attached resolution approving the joint powers agreement with the city of Woodbury for sanitary sewer and or water service, and direct the mayor and the city manager to sign the agreement. Minor revisions, as approved by the city attorney, are authorized as needed.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman. The motion is written in our packet. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Council members, we have concluded the important business of the city. Thank you all. Thank you, staff. And we're adjourned.
Good one.